from Garcia.
Rolly, Ryan Garcia said that he would give a shot to Rayo Valenzuela. What do you think about that fight if it happens?
Give a
Rayo. That's what he said.
Because we're Ryan, it could be he's talking about a shot at tequila.
Ryan Garcia and Rolando Romero are gearing up to face off in the ring, but the real battle is already taking place outside of it. Their fight is scheduled for May 2nd in Times Square, and the tension between them has reached its peak. Ryan has never been one to hold back his words, and Ryan is no longer interested in playing games. From threats to insults, both fighters have been exchanging harsh verbal jabs, setting the stage for what promises to be one of the most intense and exciting fights of the year. This version maintains the original meaning and key points while making it clearer and more natural for the intended audience.
You got the best left. The best left in the world.
There's a right hand from Garcia.
And it's a lead right.
Davis.
Ryan Garcia, fresh off a controversial fight with Haney, is on a mission. After testing positive for Osterine and serving a suspension, he's looking for redemption. But before he can get a rematch with Haney, he has to face Romero. And if Ryan's recent comments are anything to go by, he's stepping into this fight with pure aggression. He's already warned Raleigh that if he crosses the line, there will be consequences. Ryan tweeted, "Raleigh, I'm going to let you know right now, and I hope you really understand this. I'm not taking you lightly at all. I'm coming at you with real raw anger, and I'm sorry it has to be you." That wasn't just a warning. It was a declaration of war. And if anyone thought Ryan was joking, his follow-up was even more intense. This version maintains all the original details while using clear, straightforward language for a more natural and engaging feel.
The fact that this fight is taking place at welterweight, does that suit you? Is that better for you?
I mean, I called this years ago saying that me and him were going to fight at welterweight. And this when we were both 35-pounders, so, I mean, I long outgrown 140.
Keeping his lead or to box.
You can say all the funny stuff you're going to say Tuesday, but if you cross the line, I'm going to slap the F out of you. I promise you, Ryan isn't interested in the circus that usually follows a Romero fight. He's seen how Raleigh turns every event into a spectacle using trash talk to get under his opponent's skin. But Ryan is making it clear, this isn't just a fight for him, it's personal, and he doesn't want jokes, he wants a war. On the other hand, Romero is thriving in the chaos. He's never been the type to back down from a verbal battle, and he's certainly not going to start now. As far as he's concerned, he's been calling Ryan out for years, and now it's time to prove why he's the better man.
Is it going to happen? Or do you want it to happen?
I shall see.
You shall see?
I shall see.
Yeah? What do you make of him skipping the Haney fight for a fight with you?
No opinion on that. No opinion on that either.
Garcia coming forward with the left. It's not a factor.
I've been calling this guy out for a long time, Raleigh said. I've got the biggest guts in boxing, and I'm the biggest stalker in the game. He knows that Ryan is emotional and angry, and he plans to use that to his advantage. Ryan isn't just focused on winning this fight. He's determined to make a statement. He wants to completely dominate Raleigh, wipe away the memory of his loss to Haney, silence his critics, and prove he's still one of the best in the world. But Raleigh doesn't care about any of that. When asked about Ryan's potential rematch with Haney, Raleigh quickly brushed it off. "I don't care. They can rematch after me. I'll beat the S out of Ryan, and then they can rematch," he said. For Raleigh, this fight is all about him. He's not concerned with Ryan's redemption story or Haney. He's focused on making a name for himself. He wants to prove he's more than just a trash talker. He's a real threat. The back and forth between these two has already made this one of the most talked about fights of the year. But the real question is whether Ryan's anger will work for him or against him. Raleigh has been in drama before and thrives in it. But for Ryan, this fight is different. He's not just dealing with Raleigh's words, he's carrying the pressure of a comeback. He has the weight of his suspension, the expectations for a rematch with Haney, and the need to prove himself once again.
These fighters' history. Rolly and Ryan, they have a big history. They actually sparred before. You can go watch their fight on YouTube.
They say he clout chasing.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, man. When I watched the spar, you know, Rolly was beating him, man. Ryan didn't have no answer.
Because that is the weapon. And if Garcia doesn't,
But a lot more.
If Ryan lets his emotions take control, it could be his undoing. Raleigh knows this, which is why he's pushing Ryan's buttons. He wants Ryan to lose his cool and fight on emotion. Raleigh believes that if Ryan does this, he'll be able to take advantage. From Raleigh's perspective, Ryan isn't ready for this kind of fight. Sure, Ryan is fast and skilled, but he's not tough enough mentally to handle the pressure. Raleigh pointed out that when he faced Ismael Barroso, it felt like a life or death situation. And when he fought Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Ryan was searching for a way out. In response, Ryan fired back, saying that he would make Raleigh retire in the ring, just like an MMA fighter hanging up their gloves.
He's a fighter that can come and fight. He's hungry. He's hungry to get on top. He's hungry to be world champion.
30 seconds of the third. Davis putting on.
These guys are jabs.
Ryan is making it clear that he's out for more than just a win. He's after a knockout. He's not planning to simply outbox Raleigh. He wants to take him down. But Raleigh isn't new to being underestimated. He's heard the doubts, and he thrives on proving people wrong. Despite all the trash talk and threats, this fight could go either way. Ryan has the edge when it comes to boxing ability. He's faster, stronger, and more skilled. However, Raleigh knows how to turn things into chaos. He has a knack for making a fight messy, dragging his opponents into tough situations and testing their willpower.
Ryan Garcia going up to 147. I'm not going to say I think he's going to be fast. I'm not sure if his strength is going to translate to 147. It went with him to 140, but that doesn't mean it's going to go with him to 147.
One thing is for sure, Ryan Garcia's left hook isn't just a punch, it's a career ender. Fighters know it's coming and trainers warn their fighters about it, but they still get caught by it. It already happened to Devin Haney, who's considered a defensive expert. And now Rolando Romero is next to test his luck. Let's be honest, Romero doesn't have the skills to avoid that punch. He's reckless, his defense is poor, and he walks right into punches like he's collecting them. This fight is only happening because Romero is loud enough to make people think he deserves it. But once that hook lands, all the hype is going to fade away.
Rough sparring, I guess, but he continued to use that sparring to, kind of boost up his career.
It's just sparring. We're going to see in the real.
Final 30 seconds of the third. Davis putting on.
These guys are.
What's wild is that Romero doesn't seem to care. He's acting like Garcia's knockout power isn't a real threat, as if Ryan is just going to show up in Times Square and play a light game. But there's a reason Devin Haney, a fighter once considered the future of boxing, was reduced to survival mode against Garcia. That left hook shattered all the illusions about Haney's supposed dominance. People don't want to admit it, but Haney was exposed in a way that can't be undone. His fans spent years claiming he was an untouchable ringmaster, but Garcia made him look like just another fighter. That's the truth, even if no one wants to say it out loud.
Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia would be an amazing fight. Me and Ryan sparred way back when. We sparred twice, and there's always it's gonna be. That fight will sell out. I know that fight will sell out. That's one of.
If Haney couldn't handle Garcia's left hook, what makes anyone think Romero can? Romero has already shown he doesn't respond well to power. He was knocked out by Gervonta Tank Davis when he tried his usual bull rush, and Isaac Pitbull Cruz had him looking completely lost. The only reason Romero is still relevant is because he somehow ended up with a belt, and because big names like Turkey and Al Heyman saw value in turning him into part of this circus. This is entertainment, not real sport, and Romero is just playing his role, loud, ridiculous, and ultimately disposable. He's the villain being set up to be taken down by the hero.
There, Davis with the lead foot to the outside of Garcia, allowing under.
Let's be honest, Romero isn't walking into this fight with some master plan. He's a wild puncher who charges in like someone playing Street Fighter with a broken controller. That might work against some fighters, but against Garcia, it's a disaster waiting to happen. If Romero rushes in, Garcia's left hook will send him flying. If he tries to box, that's not going to work either because Garcia isn't really a technical boxer. He's a brawler. That's why this fight is set up for a brutal finish. The real question isn't whether Romero will survive. He won't. The real issue is what happens afterward. If Garcia knocks out Romero in 2 or 3 rounds, does Devin Haney really deserve a rematch?
No me cierro, como lo he dicho, yo aquí estoy para pelearle ahora en 140 y demostrarle que estamos igual de fuertes o más fuertes que en 135 y también callarle la boca.
I'm not about to dodge Ryan Garcia. I'm ready to fight him on 140 if he wants.
Haney barely managed to get through the first fight, and Garcia made it clear he was the better fighter. But boxing politics don't always follow logic, they follow the money. Haney wants the rematch, and when he wants something, it usually happens. The problem is, if Haney and Garcia fight again, it will likely be another one-sided bout. Haney isn't suddenly going to gain knockout power overnight. and he's not going to magically withstand Garcia's powerful left hook.
Who would you say is another good trash talker in boxing?
Right now, man, really, I mean, just that retarded ass fool Rolly, to be honest. Rolly right now probably runs his mouth the most, but he can't back it up. There's a difference between me and him. I talk a lot of trash, but I've been backing up everything I've been saying so far. But probably Rolly.
What do you think of his fight with Ryan that's been announced? They're fighting in May in Times Square, New York City.
I think that's a better fight for Ryan, publicity-wise, than...
Careful, he was looking at the referee. You got to protect yourselves at all times.
And he just...
What we're likely to see is a repeat of what happened before. Haney getting hurt, struggling to hold on, and then making excuses afterward. The bigger question is, what's next for Ryan after he defeats Romero? A fight with Teofimo Lopez makes a lot more sense than another rematch with Haney. Teofimo has the power, skills, and confidence to fight back, and he wouldn't just survive, he'd come out fighting. That's the kind of matchup boxing needs.
There's been a lot of back and forth between you and Ryan Garcia. What are your thoughts, and what message would you send him right now, brother?
I have no thoughts about him. I don't give a about him. He's not a boxer, so who gives a about him? Of course, thank you.
Underneath that left hook, what a shot!
Instead, we're probably going to see another Garcia-Haney fight, not because it's competitive, but because it's easy to promote. As for Romero, he better hope he can still talk after this fight, because his mouth is the only thing keeping him relevant. When Garcia's left hook lands, it could reset Romero's career, and there won't be a rematch. Ryan Garcia has said a lot of things in the past. He's claimed he was focused before, promised to take boxing seriously, and even said he was done with distractions. But this time, he insists it's different. No more drugs, no more alcohol, and no more crazy social media stunts. Just boxing. The problem is, no one fully believes him yet.
Ryan Garcia? Bro, he's one of the most entertaining fighters I've ever seen in my life. He gets hit, you don't know where the fuck, he throws some random ass hook that knocks people out. He gets hit, he does some weird ass feet.
Ryan Garcia faced Devin Haney in April 2024 and scored 3 knockdowns on his way to a decision victory. However, Garcia tested positive for Osterine, and the fight was later ruled a no contest. As a result, Garcia was handed a 1-year suspension, which will end on April 20th. Meanwhile, Rolando Romero stated that it's been 8 years since talks about a fight between him and Garcia first started. Now they finally have the fight they've both been waiting for, and they're approaching it with the kind of intensity that fans have been expecting.
Last question. Final message to Ryan Garcia before y'all fight.
No Vaseline.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And he's doing it there. And Garcia putting the pressure on Davis.
Rolando Romero kicked off the back and forth, and as expected, Ryan Garcia stepped it up. Romero is a tough and aggressive fighter who throws seriously heavy punches in every fight. His style has earned him a lot of fans in recent years, but now he's facing a big challenge against boxing star Ryan Garcia. Speaking to Fight Hype, Garcia said, "With Ryan, yeah man, it's long overdue for sure. Honestly, it kind of came out of nowhere."
I'm asking you about this, right? We sparred in 2013, March 2013, right?
One day, Ryan is talking about fighting Isaac Cruz, and the next day I wake up to hear that it's Ryan Garcia versus Rolando Romero. It seems like Ryan didn't quite know what was happening. The two are fierce competitors and will be going after each other leading up to this fight. Neither of them is shy, and they'll be hyping up this matchup for all it's worth. Get ready for the build-up to begin soon. It's going to be a great fight in the ring, but let's not forget Garcia is coming off a long layoff due to his suspension, so he'll need to take this fight very seriously and put on an impressive performance. If he's not fully prepared, he could get caught off guard. Romero is no easy opponent, and both Garcia and Romero know each other well enough to make this an exciting battle.
4 months. At the time, he's 4 years older than me, right? So that means he's 21, I was 17, right? He's going hard on me, right? After I stopped his little brother, right? To claim that he's
cutting off the ring, and he's doing that fairly well, and boy, a more aggressive...
The trash talk has already begun, with Garcia tweeting on X that he wasn't surprised Pitbull pulled out, but now he's ready to face some dog food in Romero. Expect this back and forth to heat up between these two young American boxers in the coming months. As for the fight itself, it's shaping up to be an exciting one, full of speed and power. Romero is known for being in action-packed fights, and Garcia is no stranger to the same. The contrast in their fighting styles should make for an interesting and well-matched clash.
They're fighting. Yeah. So you Pitbull in New York, Times Square, right?
Times Square, yes.
Nice, man. What,
I guess curious, how does the fight go in your opinion? I know you guys have been circling each other for...
Ryan Garcia kicked off the verbal battle by announcing that he will fight Isaac Cruz in his next match in May, once his boxing suspension ends. However, Garcia can't afford to underestimate Rolando Romero, who has only lost twice in his career. His first loss came against Gervonta Tank Davis, who also knocked out Garcia. The second loss was to Isaac Pitbull Cruz, a defeat that negatively affected Romero's career path. Are you going to walk around acting like nothing happened?
Are you going to walk around the whole fucking shit?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, this is a fight that I feel like the fans wanted for a long time until he lost. So
the jab and first one to make a mistake, because whoever does make the mistake is going to pay dearly.
And there's that hand speed.
Garcia knows he's in for a tough fight, as Rolly Romero is known for his knockout power. However, unlike Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Romero doesn't have the same level of chin or durability, which has led to comparisons between Cruz and Mike Tyson. Garcia will want to show fans that he's also a knockout artist, especially since he has a powerful left hook. If Romero continues to come at him aggressively, Garcia will have a larger target to aim for. This fight will also help Garcia shake off any rust from his time away, preparing him for a potential rematch with Haney down the line.
got a lot of things ahead, but fight-wise, I either want to fight the 154-pound champion, Sebastian Fundora, or I want to fight Isaac Cruz.
Well, be careful. He was looking at the referee. You got to protect yourselves at all times.
And yes, in May we'll be fighting there, and it's going to be great. Another big fight, and I'm ready for it. Romero is still a fantastic fighter. Sure, he's lost once, but fans love him, and he's a big guy. When we were in London, there were so many people, all of them meeting with Turkey. It was crazy. The Garcia-Romero triple header in Times Square, the creation of a boxing league involving UFC President Dana White, and the parent company of both UFC and WWE, along with the third fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, all headlining on Netflix this summer. There's so much exciting stuff happening.
He hasn't really made that many adjustments, to be honest. Still making a lot of the same mistakes, still kind of fighting the same. His chin actually looks like it's got...
The WBA recently released its updated rankings, and surprisingly, Garcia and Romero were placed at number 2 and number 3 in the welterweight division, despite being unranked at 147 LPs just 1 month earlier. Romero wasn't even close to being that high at 140 LPs. He was ranked number 8 as of January 2024, which made sense given that he lost the WBA title to Isaac Cruz in March 2024. His only fight since then was a unanimous decision win over the unranked UL James in September. On the other hand, Garcia had been completely unranked by the WBA for the past year. His last ranking was in January 2024 when he was placed at number 4 in the junior welterweight division.
With the lead foot to the outside of Garcia, allowing...
Once Garcia agreed to challenge Devin Haney for the WBC belt, the WBA removed him from its rankings. His continued absence was likely due to his suspension after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug following his overturned win over Haney in April 2024. It's not surprising at all that Garcia and Romero are back in the WBA's rankings and ranked so highly. Unfortunately, this is just the way things work in boxing, especially with the major sanctioning body. The WBA is doing what it does best. If the winner of Garcia versus Romero faces the winner of the main supporting fight between Haney and Jose Ramirez, or the winner of the undercard fight between Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza, the WBA stands to make over $1 million simply by adding one more unnecessary belt to the mix. Doesn't even take into account all the additional fees and expenses the WBA requires from fighters, promoters, and managers. The sport doesn't need these extra belts, and this fight doesn't need this distraction to grab our attention. But the WBA continues to survive and thrive because of them. Davis, who recently drew with Lamont Roach, has shared the ring with both fighters and has weighed in on who hits the hardest. In 2022, Davis kept his unbeaten record intact when he fought Romero in New York and won with a 6th-round knockout.
Referee, you got to protect yourselves at all times.
And he just ducked underneath.
The following year and 2 fights later, Davis scored a big win over Garcia in one of the biggest boxing events of the year. He stopped the Californian with a powerful body shot. Later this year, Garcia and Romero will face off in a major event in Times Square, New York. A victory for Garcia could set up a rematch with Devin Haney, who will also be on the same card. Garcia enters his fight with Romero as the clear favorite, but when asked who the harder hitter was between the two, Davis didn't hesitate with his response. I ain't going to lie. Rolly hits hard. People have been sleeping on Rolly, Davis said in an interview with Fight Hype.
How are you going to compare Cruz to a puncher like me?
Romero here in the first round!
One, I'm bigger than both of them. But in this fight, he's not the
He doesn't have the best chin, so Rolly is definitely going to land some good shots. But Rolly can really hit hard. When he throws a punch, it feels like there are bricks in his gloves. If they both win their fights in May, there's hope that Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney will have a rematch later this year after their controversial first bout. The two faced off last April in what was supposed to be a defense of Haney's WBC super lightweight world title. However, Garcia had an issue with the weigh-in, coming in 3 pounds over the limit, which made him ineligible to fight for the belt. Despite this, they agreed to go ahead with the fight anyway. Garcia managed to drop the champion 3 times on his way to what seemed like a decision win, but it was later overturned to a no contest, when it was revealed that Garcia had tested positive twice for a banned substance during the fight.
You're fighting me, right? And I'm right here. See how you drop? See how you drop? So it goes like this.
Final 30 seconds of the third. Davis putting on.
These guys are...
Right now, Ryan Garcia is saying all the right things. He's talking about respect, professionalism, and showing what he's capable of. But in boxing, it's not about what you say, it's about what you do inside the ring. Until Garcia steps through those ropes and proves himself, doubts will continue to linger. May 2nd isn't just another fight for him, it's his last chance to show he's more than just a social media star with unrealized potential. If he falls short this time, no amount of words will help him. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.